Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that most people don't realize until life teaches it to them the hard way. Confidence is more powerful than beauty, more lasting than charm, and more magnetic than any physical feature a person could ever have. You can be the most beautiful woman in the room, but if you don't believe in yourself, that beauty fades in the eyes of others. Confidence, on the other hand, doesn't fade. It grows, it deepens. It pulls people towards you without you ever having to chase them. A confident woman doesn't need to beg for attention because her presence naturally commands it. When she walks into a room, people notice not because she demands to be seen, but because her energy speaks before she does. That energy says, I know who I am. I know what I deserve. And I'm not afraid to stand in it. See, men are not as complicated as people make them out to be. A man is drawn to what feels solid, what feels real, what feels unshakable. When he sees a woman who carries herself with certainty, who doesn't constantly seek validation, who doesn't need approval to feel worthy, something inside him shifts. He becomes curious. He becomes attentive. He becomes invested because confidence signals rarity. It tells him this is not someone ordinary. This is someone who understands her value. And when a woman understands her value, the world treats her differently. Not because the world suddenly changed, but because she did. Confidence is not arrogance. Arrogance is loud, defensive, and insecure underneath. Confidence is calm. Confidence is steady. Confidence is peaceful. It's the difference between someone who has to announce their worth and someone who simply lives it. A confident woman doesn't compete with other women because she's not trying to win a comparison. She's living in her own lane. She doesn't chase attention because she knows attention is cheap. She attracts respect because respect is earned through presence, not demanded through noise. And when a man encounters that kind of woman, he feels it immediately. He senses that she is not someone he can play with, not someone he can manipulate, not someone he can take lightly. And that realization makes him step up. You see, confidence sets the tone for how people treat you. If you doubt yourself, people will doubt you. If you question your worth, people will question it too. But when you carry yourself like you know you matter, people start believing it. Not because they analyzed it, not because they studied you, but because energy is contagious. What you believe about yourself spreads to others. A confident woman silently teaches a man how to treat her. She doesn't need to give long speeches or ultimatums. Her standards show in her posture, her tone, her boundaries, and her choices. She doesn't beg for love because she knows love should be given freely. She doesn't tolerate disrespect because she knows she deserves respect. She doesn't settle for crumbs because she knows she's worthy of the whole table. There's something else about confidence that makes it irresistible. It creates emotional safety. A man feels more comfortable around a woman who is secure in herself because he doesn't feel like he has to constantly reassure her. He doesn't feel like one mistake will cause chaos. He doesn't feel like he's responsible for her self-esteem. Instead, he feels like he's with someone strong, someone grounded, someone who adds peace instead of pressure. And peace, ladies and gentlemen, is addictive. A man might be attracted to drama for a moment, but he gets attached to peace for a lifetime. Confidence also shows maturity. It shows that a woman has lived, learned, grown, and decided to stand firmly in who she is. That kind of presence tells a man he's dealing with someone who understands life, someone who won't crumble at the first sign of difficulty, someone who can stand beside him rather than cling to him. And when he sees that strength, he doesn't feel intimidated the way people assume. A real man feels inspired. He feels challenged in a good way. He feels like he wants to rise to meet her level because he recognizes that she's not asking for perfection. She's simply living in her own power. The truth is, beauty might catch his eye, but confidence captures his mind. Beauty might make him look once, but confidence makes him look twice. Beauty might start the conversation, but confidence keeps him engaged. Because beauty is something he sees, but confidence is something he feels. And feelings are what create attachment. Feelings are what create memory. Feelings are what make someone unforgettable. When a woman truly believes in herself, she becomes unforgettable, not because of how she looks, but because of how she makes people feel when they're around her. That is the real magnetism. That is the real power. That is why confidence, every single time, attracts deeper than beauty ever could. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that most people overlook when they talk about attraction, connection, and what truly keeps someone interested. Mystery is a powerful force. It's subtle, it's quiet, and yet it has the ability to pull someone closer without you ever reaching out your hand. Mystery keeps emotional curiosity alive, and curiosity is one of the strongest emotional hooks that exists between two people. When someone is curious about you, they think about you when you're not there. They replay conversations. They wonder what you meant. They imagine what they don't yet know. And the more they wonder, the deeper they become invested. That's the power of mystery. Now understand this clearly. Mystery is not about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. Real mystery is about depth. It's about having layers instead of giving your entire story away in the first 5 minutes. Too many people rush to reveal everything about themselves because they think transparency creates instant closeness. But real closeness is built step by step, discovery by discovery. When you reveal everything too quickly, you remove the journey. And without the journey, there's no excitement, no anticipation, no emotional build. A man doesn't become fascinated by what he fully understands in one day. He becomes fascinated by what unfolds over time. Think about anything in life that ever truly fascinated you. It wasn't something you understood immediately. It was something that made you lean in, something that made you ask questions, something that made you want to explore further. Human connection works the same way. When a woman carries herself with a sense of mystery, she naturally creates that pull. She doesn't overshare. She doesn't rush to explain every thought. She lets conversation breathe. She answers honestly, but she answers with grace, leaving room for future discovery. That space she leaves is where curiosity grows, and curiosity is what keeps someone coming back for more. You see, when someone feels like they've already figured you out completely, their mind stops searching. But when they sense there's more to learn, their attention stays locked in. Mystery keeps a man mentally engaged because his mind keeps returning to you. He starts wondering what makes you laugh when you're alone, what your dreams look like, what stories you haven't told yet. And every time he learns something new about you, he feels like he's earned a reward. That feeling of earning access is powerful. People value what they work to understand. They cherish what they uncover piece by piece. They protect what they feel privileged to know. Mystery also shows emotional strength. It shows that you don't feel pressured to prove yourself instantly. It shows that you're comfortable letting things unfold naturally. A woman who is at ease with silence, who isn't afraid of pauses in conversation, who doesn't rush to fill every moment with explanations, gives off an energy of calm confidence. That calmness makes a man feel like he's in the presence of someone grounded, someone centered, someone who doesn't need constant validation. And that presence alone can be magnetic. It draws him in because it feels different from the noise and rush he's used to. There's another layer to mystery that people rarely talk about. It protects your value. When you reveal everything too quickly, you risk being taken for granted. But when you allow someone to discover you gradually, they start appreciating each new piece they learn. They remember small details because they had to pay attention to notice them. They listen more carefully because they don't want to miss anything. Mystery trains someone to be attentive. It teaches them that if they want to know you, they must slow down, observe, and truly engage. That kind of attention builds emotional investment, and emotional investment is what transforms interest into attachment. Mystery also keeps attraction alive over time. Many relationships lose their spark not because love disappears, but because curiosity disappears. When curiosity fades, people stop asking questions. They stop discovering each other. They assume they already know everything. But when you maintain a sense of depth, when you continue growing, learning, and evolving as a person, you remain intriguing. A man never feels like he has reached the end of you. He feels like every chapter reveals something new. And that feeling keeps his interest alive because he knows there's always more to explore. What makes mystery beautiful is that it doesn't require effort the way people think. It doesn't require strategy or manipulation. It simply requires self-respect, patience, and emotional awareness. It means understanding that you don't have to reveal everything at once to be valued. It means trusting that the right person will stay long enough to discover you slowly. And when someone stays, when they remain curious, when they keep leaning in instead of pulling away, that's when you know your presence has truly captured their attention. Because mystery doesn't chase, mystery attracts. And what it attracts is not just interest, but lasting fascination. Ladies and gentlemen, let me share something that changes the entire dynamic between two people, something deeper than attraction, stronger than chemistry, and longer lasting than excitement. Respect is the force that makes a man invest emotionally. Not attention, not charm, not even romance by itself. Respect is what makes him lean in, open up, and decide that what he has with you is something he wants to protect. You see, attraction may catch his interest, but respect captures his commitment. A man can be drawn to many people, but he becomes emotionally tied to the one who makes him feel valued as a man. Respect speaks in ways words never could. It shows in your tone, your patience, your listening, and your reactions when things don't go your way. It shows in how you talk to him when you're upset, not just when you're happy. Anyone can be kind when everything is smooth, but respect is proven when emotions are high and disagreements happen. When a woman chooses calm understanding over insults, chooses communication over criticism, and chooses dignity over drama, she sends a powerful message. She tells him he is safe with her. And safety is what allows a man to lower his guard. Most men walk through life feeling like they have to be strong all the time, like they can't show weakness, like they have to solve everything alone. But when he feels respected, he finally feels like he can breathe. He feels like he can be himself without being judged or belittled. A man invests emotionally where he feels appreciated. If he senses that nothing he does is enough, if every effort is criticized, if every mistake is thrown back in his face, he slowly pulls away. Not because he doesn't care, but because he feels defeated. But when a woman notices his effort, when she acknowledges the things he tries to do right, when she shows gratitude instead of constant dissatisfaction, he starts wanting to do more. Appreciation fuels effort. Respect fuels loyalty. And when those two combine, they create emotional attachment that runs deep. Respect does not mean silence, and it certainly does not mean lowering your standards. Real respect actually requires strength. It means you know how to express your feelings without tearing someone down. It means you can disagree without disrespecting. It means you hold your boundaries without humiliating the other person. That balance is rare, and because it is rare, it is powerful. A man recognizes when he's dealing with someone emotionally mature. He recognizes when he's with someone who isn't trying to control him, but is instead choosing to stand beside him. That recognition makes him value her presence in a way that goes far beyond surface level attraction. There is something important to understand about men that many people miss. A man ties his emotions closely to his sense of worth. If he feels respected, he feels worthy. If he feels worthy, he feels confident. And if he feels confident around you, he associates you with strength instead of stress. That association is what pulls him closer. He starts to see you not just as someone he likes, but as someone he needs in his life. Not out of dependence, but out of appreciation for how he feels when he's with you. Respect becomes the emotional glue that bonds him to you because it touches the deepest part of his identity. When a woman respects a man, she shows that she sees him, not just looks at him. She sees his effort, his intentions, his struggles, and his growth. She doesn't reduce him to his mistakes. She doesn't compare him to others. She allows him to be human while still expecting him to rise higher. That kind of respect inspires him. It makes him want to become better, not because he's forced to, but because he wants to live up to the way she sees him. People rise or fall to match the energy they're given. Give someone disrespect and they shut down. Give someone respect and they step up. Respect also creates trust, and trust is the foundation of emotional investment. Without trust, feelings stay guarded. Without trust, vulnerability feels dangerous. But when a man trusts that he won't be mocked, dismissed, or minimized, he begins to share more of himself. He shares his thoughts, his fears, his dreams, and his plans. And once he starts sharing those parts of himself, he becomes emotionally connected. That connection is what makes him stay, what makes him care, what makes him choose you even when life gets complicated. So when you understand the power of respect, you realize it's not a small gesture. It's not just politeness. It's a language. It's a signal. It's a force that tells a man he matters. And when a man feels like he matters to you, he doesn't just give you his attention. He gives you his effort, his loyalty, his protection, and eventually his heart. Ladies and gentlemen, there is something incredibly powerful about positive energy. Something you can't touch, but you can feel the moment someone walks into a room. Positive energy is not loud, it's not forced, and it's not fake cheerfulness. It's a genuine warmth, a calm brightness that surrounds a person and changes the atmosphere without them even trying. And let me tell you something real. People are drawn to energy more than they are drawn to appearances. Looks might catch someone's eye for a moment, but energy determines whether they want to stay. Positive energy makes a man crave your presence because it gives him something rare in this world: peace. Life is already filled with pressure, stress, expectations, and noise. Every day a man walks outside, he faces competition, responsibility, and challenges that demand his strength and focus. He deals with problems he doesn't always talk about, worries he doesn't always show, and pressure he doesn't always release. So when he meets a woman whose presence feels like relief instead of another battle, something shifts inside him. He relaxes. He breathes easier. He starts associating her with comfort. And once that association is formed, he wants to experience it again and again. That's what positive energy does. It doesn't chase him. It pulls him. Positive energy shows in the way you speak, the way you react, and the way you handle situations. It's in your laughter that comes naturally, not forced. It's in your ability to see the bright side without ignoring reality. It's in your calmness when things don't go perfectly. A woman who carries positive energy doesn't drain the room when she enters it. She lifts it. She doesn't create tension with constant complaints or negativity. Instead, she brings lightness, and people feel that immediately. A man especially feels it because he recognizes how rare it is to be around someone who adds peace rather than pressure. There's something almost addictive about being around someone who makes you feel good without trying. Think about it. When you leave a conversation smiling, when you walk away feeling lighter than you did before, when your mind replays someone's laugh or the warmth of their presence, you naturally want to return to that feeling. That's how attachment begins, not with grand gestures or dramatic moments, but with small emotional experiences that leave a lasting impression. Positive energy creates those experiences. It turns ordinary moments into memories and simple conversations into something meaningful. A woman with positive energy also shows emotional strength. She doesn't allow every small inconvenience to ruin her mood. She doesn't let negativity control her reactions. That doesn't mean she ignores problems or pretends life is perfect. It means she chooses how she responds instead of letting circumstances choose for her. That kind of emotional control is powerful because it shows maturity. A man sees that and realizes he's around someone who can handle life, not someone who collapses at every obstacle. That realization builds respect, and respect deepens attraction. Another thing positive energy does is create emotional safety. When a man feels like he can come to you without being judged, criticized, or overwhelmed, he starts opening up. He starts sharing more. He starts letting you see parts of him he doesn't show everyone. Why? Because he trusts that your presence won't turn into pressure. He trusts that being around you will leave him feeling better, not worse. That trust is what makes him crave your company. Not because he has to see you, but because he wants to. There is a huge difference between someone feeling obligated to be around you and someone feeling drawn to be around you. Positive energy creates that draw. Negativity pushes people away slowly, often without them even realizing why. Constant complaining, constant drama, constant criticism can wear someone down emotionally. But positive energy does the opposite. It refreshes. It restores. It makes someone feel like being around you is a break from the chaos of the world. And once a man feels that kind of peace with you, he starts protecting it. He starts prioritizing it. He starts making time for it. Because peace is rare, and people hold on to rare things. Positive energy also shows self-awareness. It shows that you understand the impact you have on others, and that you choose to bring light instead of heaviness. That choice is powerful because it's intentional. It means you're not ruled by every passing emotion. It means you've grown enough to know that your presence can either uplift or drain, and you've chosen to uplift. That decision alone sets you apart from most people, because many people walk through life unaware of how their mood affects everyone around them. When a man experiences consistent positive energy from a woman, he begins to associate her with happiness. He thinks of her when he wants to smile. He remembers her when he needs encouragement. He reaches for her presence when he wants to feel understood. And once someone becomes linked to your happiness, it becomes very hard to stay away from them. That's why positive energy is so powerful. It doesn't demand attention. It earns it. It doesn't force connection. It inspires it. And when your presence becomes a source of peace, warmth, and light in someone's life, they don't just enjoy being around you. They start craving it. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a truth about attraction and relationships that many people overlook until experience forces them to understand it. And that truth is this: the way you value yourself teaches other people how to value you. Self-value is not something you announce, it's something you demonstrate. It's not about saying you deserve respect, it's about showing through your choices and behavior that you refuse to accept anything less. When a woman truly knows her worth, she doesn't have to chase attention, beg for love, or compete for validation. Her presence alone communicates a quiet message that says, I respect myself, and if you want to be in my life, you must respect me too. A man pays attention to that message, whether he realizes it consciously or not. People study how to treat you by observing what you tolerate. If you allow inconsistency, they learn they can be inconsistent. If you allow disrespect, they learn they can be disrespectful. But if you stand firm in your standards, if you calmly step back when those standards aren't met, you show that your value is not negotiable. That is powerful. It changes the entire dynamic. Instead of you trying to prove why you deserve love, he begins trying to prove why he deserves you. That shift happens the moment you stop lowering yourself just to keep someone interested. Self-value shows in the smallest details. It shows in how you speak about yourself, how you carry yourself, and how you handle situations when things don't go your way. A woman who values herself doesn't insult her own appearance, doesn't downplay her intelligence, and doesn't act like she's lucky just because someone gave her attention. She understands that attention is common, but genuine effort is rare because she understands that difference. She doesn't get impressed by words alone. She pays attention to actions. And when a man realizes that he can't win her over with talk, he begins to step up with effort, not because she demanded it loudly, but because her standards quietly required it. There is something deeply attractive about a woman who refuses to abandon herself for the sake of keeping someone else. Too many people lose themselves in relationships. They change their personality, ignore their needs, and silence their voice just to avoid conflict or rejection. But when a woman keeps her identity, keeps her boundaries, and keeps her self-respect, she becomes unforgettable. She shows that she is not afraid to walk away from anything that doesn't honor her worth. And paradoxically, that willingness to walk away is what makes someone want to stay. Because people value what they know they could lose. If someone feels they can treat you any way and you'll still remain, they stop appreciating you. But when they see that your presence is a privilege, not a guarantee, they start treating it like something precious. Self-value also creates emotional balance. When you know your worth, you don't panic when someone pulls away for a moment. You don't beg for reassurance every time there's silence. You don't assume the worst when there's a delay. Instead, you remain grounded. That calmness is powerful because it shows emotional strength. A man feels it. He senses that you are stable, that you are centered, that your happiness doesn't depend entirely on him. And when he sees that, he doesn't feel pressured. He feels intrigued. He feels respect. He feels drawn in because he's encountering someone who stands on her own rather than leaning on him for validation. Another thing self-value does is protect your heart. When you know your worth, you don't accept half-effort, mixed signals, or empty promises. You recognize them for what they are, and you step back instead of chasing clarity from someone who isn't giving it. That doesn't make you cold. It makes you wise. It means you understand that love should add to your life, not confuse it. A man who truly wants you will rise to meet your standards, not try to lower them. And when he sees that you won't shrink those standards just to keep him around, he begins to respect you on a deeper level. That respect becomes the foundation of his emotional investment. Self-value is also magnetic because it reflects inner peace. A woman who values herself isn't constantly comparing herself to others or competing for attention. She isn't threatened by someone else's beauty or success. She knows that her worth is not reduced just because someone else shines. That quiet security is rare, and because it's rare, it's attractive. A man notices when he's around someone who is comfortable in her own skin. He feels the difference between confidence and insecurity, between calm assurance and constant doubt. And once he experiences that calm assurance, he starts craving it because it feels steady, safe, and real. When you truly value yourself, you stop asking, does he like me? And start asking, does he treat me right? That single shift changes everything. It moves your focus from seeking approval to evaluating behavior. And when you evaluate behavior instead of chasing approval, you automatically raise your standards. That's when a man realizes he's not dealing with someone he can impress easily. He realizes he's dealing with someone he has to respect consistently. And consistency is what builds attachment. So understand this clearly. Self-value is not pride and it's not ego. It's clarity. It's the deep understanding that you are worthy of honesty, effort, kindness, and respect. And when you carry that understanding within you, you don't have to teach people your value with words. They learn it by how you live, how you respond, and what you accept. Because in the end, people don't decide your worth. They respond to the worth you've already decided you have. Ladies and gentlemen, there is something profoundly powerful about emotional consistency, something that many people underestimate, but everyone feels. Emotional consistency is the quiet force that builds trust, deepens attachment, and makes someone feel safe enough to truly connect. It's not flashy, it's not dramatic, and it doesn't demand attention, yet it is one of the strongest qualities a person can possess. When a woman is emotionally consistent, she becomes someone a man can relax around, someone he doesn't have to analyze, second guess, or worry about losing without warning, and that sense of emotional safety is what transforms simple attraction